So, due to some unforeseen circumstances, I'd have to assume both the role of the opening opposition and the closing opposition.
All right, no problem. I think, Mr. Bide, that is noted from your end.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. You can swing.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Abdul Karim, just a reminder, let's please try and turn on our cameras when speaking for the debaters, please. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think that is noted.
Right. So, Honorable Prime Minister, we would hear from you.
Justice delayed is justice denied. William E. Gladstone. Honorable Speaker, esteemed members of the opposition and respected audience, as the Prime Minister, it is an honor to stand before you in this important debate. Honorable Speaker, before going further, I would like to give you the structure of my debate. Firstly, I will give you an introduction to the motion, and then I will define the key terms of the motion, which will be followed by my points. After then, I will summarize and then conclude. By introducing the motion which says this House will reintroduce the death penalty in the Gambia. However, this motion will not be based on just after the abolition of the death penalty, but rather it will be extended to before the abolition during the James era. When we talk of reintroduce, it means to bring back a practice that was in use, the practice that was in use but had been abolished. In this case, it means the reinstating of the abolishment of the death penalty in the Gambia. So when we talk of death penalty, it is a legal punishment where a person is sentenced to death by a state for committing a serious crime. It is typically reserved for the most heinous offenses such as murder or terrorism. When we talk of the Gambia is a small country in West Africa known for its unique geography along the Gambia River. All these definitions are referenced from the Oxford Dictionary. Before going further, we need to know the reason why the death penalty was abolished in the Gambia. The death penalty was abolished in the Gambia by our current president, Adama Barrow, on September 20th, 2020, following human rights abuses under former president Yahya Jammeh's regime. Extrajudicial killings such as the massacre of 2005 for killing over 50 West African migrants raised a concern about the misuse of the death penalty. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, TRRC, exposed these abuses and recommended reforms leading to the abolition as part of the efforts to build a fairer justice system. Report Standard Gambia. Heading to my first point, justice for victims. Supporters believe that the death penalty provides a sense of justice for the victims and their families. It can be seen as a way to ensure that those who commit heinous crimes receive a punishment that fits severity of their actions. For example, a report by the Point newspaper, a 21-year-old guy who killed 3 young lives during the Tobaski Day while racing another car on the Battle Hardened Highway in 2020. The family of these victims of the guy's actions left within irreparable loss and grief. Allowing the guy to walk free sends a message that the lives of these young people cut short due to another's recklessness do not hold significant value. The death penalty would provide a sense of justice, ensuring that those who commit such heinous crimes are held accountable for that and that their victims receive the justice they deserve. My second point is closure for family. One of the most reasons for introducing the death penalty in the Gambia is the closure it provides for the family of the victims. When heinous crimes occur, families of victims, when heinous crimes occur, the emotional toll on the families left behind the victims and the lack of justice can prolong their suffering. The death penalty offers a definitive resolution, allowing them to begin healing. For example, the case of a guy, Ibrahim Kagbo, a young boy who was killed in Battle Hardened Highway in Banjul, received extensive media coverage. His family expressed deep frustration over the slow legal process and inadequate punishment for the offender, as a report by the Point newspaper. They felt that justice was not served, intensifying their grief. Implementing the death penalty would assure families like Kagbos that society takes their pain seriously and that those recklessly endanger lives face severe consequences. This closure not only aids in the healing process, but also strengthens community bonds by reaffirming importance of justice. My final point is international examples. Honorable Speaker, introducing the death penalty in the Gambia follows the example of several nations that have effectively used as a deterrent against severe crimes. Countries such as United States and China continue to apply capital punishment in cases of murder, arguing that it protects society and upholds their order. For example, the case of a girl who is currently in trial for allegedly killing her boyfriend in a friendship hotel in Bakau. This incident has drawn significant public attention. Many citizens feel that lenient punishment may not reflect the seriousness of such crimes. In such cases, if such cases happen in countries that are practicing the death penalty, the sin would have been more severe. As reported in local news, in the demand for tougher penalties, growing particularly for violent crimes that shake public trust in the legal system. Honorable Speaker, by reintroducing the death penalty, the Gambia can demonstrate its commitment to delivering justice and preventing future violent crimes, following the lead of the nations where capital punishment has helped to maintain public security. In summary, I start by introducing the motion, and then I define the key terms of the motion. I also gave the reason why death penalty was abolished. I also explained in detail that reintroducing the death penalty in the Gambia is crucial for justice and accountability. It ensures justice for victims by providing a punishment that fits crime, offers closure for families, and serves as a determinant based on successful international example. Restoring death penalty will strengthen our legal system, protect society. In conclusion, the reintroduction of the death penalty is not merely about punishment. Yeah, PY. Abubakar Jaju.
Sorry, the time for POI has elapsed already.
Okay. In conclusion, the reintroduction of the death penalty is not merely about punishment. It is about safeguarding our communities and upholding the values of justice in security. I urge this House to support the motion and also and allow justice to prevail for victims and their families. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, for that. Opposition leader, if you're sad, we would hear from you.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Honorable Opposition
You're,
leader.
you're audible.
Okay. Greetings, honorable and esteemed members of the House. I stand on all the existing protocols of the House. I am David Esjiba, and I come forward as the open opposition leader to stand on the argument that to go against the motion that reintroducing the death penalty to the Gambia is of no use. Now, before I go forward, I would like to introduce the structure of my debate. That first, I would like to address and give some rebuttals on the points brought forward by my opponents, and then I'll present my point, summarize, and then on to conclusion. Now, before going to that, I'd like to bring to your I would like to notify you all that the question before us isn't if criminals should be punished or not. It is whether our punishment reflect our highest values or our darkest instincts. The Prime Minister brought forward that the abolition of the death penalty was brought forward in September 2020. However, the Constitution of September 2020 had been rejected. So the abolition of this death penalty didn't happen in 2020. The Constitution being used was still the 1997 Constitution. And the opposite, my Prime Minister here came with the fact that justice for the victims. Is it justice to take the life of a murderer, or is it revenge masked in justice? Closure for the families. How does it serve a family to take away the life of those who took away that? Because if you ask me for revenge for someone who took away life, death is an easy getaway to that. Suffering is found in life. The person dying just makes it easier for him, and everyone forgets about you after death. It talks about deterrent against severe crime. To debunk this point, I'll have to go into my points as well. So I'll commence my debate from here. My first point here is to talk about deterring of crimes. The death penalty does not, in fact, deter any crime. Now, this is done from, you can see, worldwide studies have shown there is absolutely no credible evidence that the death penalty serves any more effective deterrent to crime than life in jail or any other punishment. And this, I can give this reference from the Amnesty International and Criminology research from Harvard School. To get this reference, you understand that a 2012 study by National Research Council of National Academies, she talked about states in the US without the death penalty having lower crime rates. Only the states in the US without the death penalty actually have a lower crime rate. States like the New York, Canada also has a lower crime rate. The US that the Prime Minister is using to show for crimes being for death penalty, the death penalty being a deterrent, has recorded the most crimes possible. So this is to show you that the death penalty does not actually deter crime. And the second point for me is there's a potential for state abuse and political repression. Look, Gambia's fragile democracy. Gambia is a fragile democracy. Let's not forget, the Gambia is still recovering from the authoritarian rule of Yahya Jammeh, where human rights violence were rampant, how human rights violations were rampant. Now, under such regimes, let me say, the death penalty can be used as a weapon for political control. The death penalty is a law, and it's law that passes on as people have the tendency to take away life. And by these people, I mean the government. Now, whether legal proceedings are followed or not depends on the government. You can say this was an authoritarian rule, but the law was still the law was still considered. In 2012, when Jammeh came, and on 19 August 2012, Jammeh brought forward the declaration that whomever kills must be killed. But this was done in an intention to actually take the lives of people, because following that, on the 24th of August 2012, executions of the 9 prisoners were made, all in the name of the death penalty. Before this, the death penalty had existed. Murders had been committed, crimes had been committed, treason had been committed, they weren't killed. After this, murders had been committed. This to show you that throughout the course of this death penalty's existence, it has only been upheld once. If the death penalty is supposed to deter crime, if the death penalty is supposed to stop any crime, all the crimes that were committed did not receive any punishment. How come only the one that the president had wanted to get rid of actually experienced the crime? Now, my third point would be economic costs outweigh the benefits. See, aside from the contrary belief that killing the person makes it easier for everyone else, that is to say, the state doesn't have to spend any more money on him, you don't have to feed him, don't have to clothe him or anything. This is actually just a facade. Implementing the death penalty is extremely expensive because according to the Constitution, there are laws or legal processes that must be taken place before the death penalty can be upheld. And you can see this from the Constitution, the 1997 Constitution of the Gambia, from Section 18, subsection 2. As from the coming into force of this Constitution, no court in the Gambia shall have the power to impose a sentence of death for any offense unless the law create the offense making provision for the death penalty. It is to show you that the death penalty must not be upheld out of grievance or vengeance. It must be upheld with legal trials. That is the length of trials, appeals, legal procedures, incarcerations, and the execution itself costs a lot. In the US, for example, it has been estimated to cost somewhere around from 1 to 3 million people to $3 million. For the Gambia, it could estimate from $1 million, $1 million. Whereas keeping the people alive or keeping them with life imprisonment and rehabilitation costs less. Now, all these costs are to be borne by the state. So in many countries, studies have shown that it's actually cheaper to impose life imprisonment than going through any costly process of capital punishment. So with this, I would conclude, and I would accept any POIs from now on. Okay,
You
if
may
there's
proceed. The
POIs, in
time up
summary,
here.
okay, in summary, I had given the structure of my debate, after which I had given 3 valid points that the death penalty not only does it not deter crime, it's also a potential for state abuse and political repression. And its economic costs also outweigh the benefits. To conclude, I would say an eye for an eye only makes the society blind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Opposition Leader. Deputy Prime Minister, if you're said, we can be ready to hear from you.
In a time where the threats of sorry, am I audible, please? Am I
Yes,
audible, Mr. Bite?
yes, you are.
You're audible.
Thank you very much. In a time where the threats of political violence and severe criminals acts loom large, the ultimate punishment is a necessary measure to ensure the safety of citizens and to affirm the government's commitment to justice. Ladies and gentlemen, adjudicators, honorable speaker and the opposition bench, today we are discussing on a crucial issue that impacts all of us. Before I move forward, I would like to give the flow of my debate, Honorable Speaker. First, I will start by rebutting the baseless points of the opposition leader, then rebuild the points of the Prime Minister, and then give my points, and then I will summarize, and in summary, I conclude. Well, opposition leader, starting with my rebuttals, I will start with what you said earlier. You talk about the Constitution, right? Talk about the Constitution, the 2020 Constitution. Well, how did Adama abolish the death penalty? How did he do it when there is a constitution? If there is a constitution, then Adama will not be permitted to do that. But you should know that there are complementary clauses inside the constitution that can help a person to change the constitution without being held to justice. That is one. Secondly, you mentioned USA. I cannot even understand, like, how can you compare USA to the Gambia? Did you check the ratio of people in USA to Gambia? How many citizens are in the USA and how many are in the Gambia? You cannot compare those two countries because USA, one state in USA is bigger than Gambia. So obviously the criminals in the USA, if you check the ratio of criminals in the USA is and in the Gambia, it's less in the Gambia than in the USA. And thirdly, all you talk about here is Yaya Jame, 400 junglers or so-called junglers. Our honorable Prime Minister came here and mentioned the guy who was racing with a car and killed 3 people. You did not mention that. You were just focusing on Yaya Jammeh. What about the person who killed his boyfriend because of jealousy in Friendship Hotel at Bakau? You did not mention that. You only focused on Yaya Jammeh. Okay, that was all I have to report to your points. Now, Honorable Speaker, moving to my points. My first point is deterrence of crime, Honorable Speaker. Proponents argue that the death penalty serves as a strong disincentive against serious crimes, particularly murder. The fear of facing capital punishment may prevent individuals from committing violent, violent acts, Honorable Speaker. Just as the Prime Minister said, I will relate this to the Prime Minister when he spoke about the girl in the girl who killed his boyfriend in Friendship Hotel due to jealousy. If that girl life was taken, nobody else will do that. And there are serious cases in the Gambia which states that people or women rather, women in general, are killing their partners, husbands or boyfriends because of jealousy. Because they will know nothing will come out of it. Either they will go to jail or they will be forgiven. That is the only thing that will come out of it. So people will keep on doing it. And we have seen that in the Gambia, there are many drivers who race cars in the Gambia right now, or they spin cars, or they drink and drive, because they know that if they kill someone, nothing will come out of it. Because if a person can kill three people, and get away with it, then come on, someone will just have will just kill somebody, and they will say, yeah, it's just an accident like that. So, Honorable Speaker, moving to my second point, which says that preventing reoffending. The death penalty ensures that uh, ensures that individuals who commit crimes like murder, they will not repeat those crimes. Because if you the point newspaper published a report in 14 January 2024. It says, and I quote, at Sinchang village, a woman of a British national who was residing in the Gambia since 2017 was murdered in cold blood, and the culprit was just charged with 2 counts of murder because that was his second murder. He did it before and escaped, and now he did it again. But if at all he faced the death penalty at first, another person wouldn't have died. Honorable Speaker. And now, Honorable Speaker, I will move to my last point, which is political stability. Honorable Speaker. If death penalty is applied consistently to violence of criminals will reduce, Honorable Speaker. In a view, a lower crime rate could contribute to political stability by fostering a more peaceful and secure society, reducing the strain on the government to maintain law and order. Secondly, in some contexts, the use of death penalty is seen as a demonstration of governmental authority and a commitment to law and order. In the Gambia, there have been many past instances of political unrest, including coup d'etats and political assassinations. A government that enforces strict laws, including capital punishment, might be seen as a more capable and capable government of maintaining control and order. Honorable Speaker, political crimes such as treason and murder or attempting to overthrow a government could be seen as a warranting severe punishment. If death penalty is applied in these cases of treason or subversion, it might serve as a deterrent to future political plots and conspiracies, Honorable Speaker. This can lead to political stability. Because if you take an example, the Point newspaper published that there is a man, a former murderer, also called a jungler. He was arrested in Germany and he is facing punishment. I will tell you what he said exactly. He said, and I quote, he said, as long as the government officials in Germany are holding me, my life is not safe. He went forward to say, there are 70 people in the Gambia, there are 70 people who are still in my country, which is the Gambia, and they have not been prosecuted to death penalty. So they mentioned 70 names, but even Germany, they are catching people or they are catching the junglers to serve them death penalty. Why not the people in the Gambia? And they are killing people rampantly. Okay, Honorable Speaker, moving to my conclusion, the reintroduction of death penalty in the Gambia is a necessary step towards strengthening law and order and ensuring the protection of the country's political stability. Honorable Speaker, by implementing death penalty for most heinous crimes, including treason, terrorism, and violent offenses, the government can safeguard its citizens and maintain peace. Honorable Speaker, the summary, I started by reporting the baseless points of the opposition leader, then I reveal the points of the Prime Minister, then I give my points, and then I conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Opposition Leader. Sorry, Deputy Prime Minister. So the House is set to hear from the final Speaker of the House of this gathering, and that is the Deputy Opposition Leader. So, Deputy Opposition Leader, if you're set, we would hear from you.
Greetings, honorables. I am David Jiva and I come in as the closing opposition leader. The Deputy Prime Minister made the statement that Adama Barrow had officially abolished without changing the constitution. The abolition of this death penalty has never been done. It is still in the constitution, as the constitution that is being used is the constitution of the 1997. The 2020 constitution was rejected. The 2022 constitution has been drafted, but it is not yet in use. You talked about deterrent of crime, and the Deputy Prime Minister talked about deterrent of crime, in which he mentioned that people are driving drunk and under the influence of drugs because they don't have care of their lives being taken after they have killed anybody else. What makes you think the lives of people who are in the influence of drugs, people who are in the influence of drugs, have that reasoning to think of what is going to happen if they kill somebody else? Because they're in the influence of drugs, they're not really considering what happens, or they're not even in the right state of mind to understand what's happening or what is not happening. Then he talked about the British woman who had had her second murder. Now, in the inception, to strengthen some of the points of the inception of my opening opposition leader, he stated that the question before us isn't that criminals should be punished. It's whether or not the punishment reflects our highest values or our darkest instincts. Punishment is not said to not be served. Should the punishment be a death penalty? What's wrong with life imprisonment? Okay, now, to continue with my structure, I'll continue with strengthening some of the points of my opening opposition leader, and then my point presentation, leading to my summary, and then finally my conclusion. Now, to strengthen some of the points of the opening opposition leader. The opening opposition leader made mention of the potential for state abuse and political repression. Those convicted during the 2012 murder by the former regime, some of them were actually convicted in the 1990s. Some of them were convicted in the early 2000s, and others were convicted for treason. That is to say that these convictions for treason could have possibly been the reasons where their lives were taken, and nothing to do with the actual
Open your camera. Open your camera.
Okay, to move forward to my points. My first point here is death penalty is an irreversible justice. This is to say that innocent lives can be taken once the Gambia reintroduces the death penalty, because our legal system, like any other system, is not perfect. Mistakes happen. People have been wrongly accused. Evidence can be misinterpreted, and bias can seep into the courtroom. See, throughout history, we've seen countless cases where innocent people were exonerated after spending years, even decades on death row. If these death penalties have actually been carried out, where is the exoneration going to take place? See, in some tragic instances, these exonerations can come too late, after the innocent had already been executed. We can take examples of this irreversibility. We can take examples of Bob Keita. Bob Keita in 2019 had been accused of having sexual relations with an underage girl, which according to the Gambian constitution deserves a capital punishment. Suppose Bob Keita had been killed because he had been put on death row. Suppose he had been killed for this. After this exoneration scheme, do we think he would have deserved it? Are we ready as a country to gamble the lives of innocents all in the name of pursuing justice? Now, to go into my second point, I think the death penalty, for one, dehumanizes all of us. By dehumanization, I mean by stripping individuals or groups of people by their inherent human dignity. This means reducing humans to basic entities. When a state uses the death penalty, it engages in state-sanctioned killings and violence, legitimizing the idea that killing is an acceptable response to crime. Once violence becomes an acceptable response for wrongdoing, it perpetuates an idea to the nation that you can take the law into your own hands. Empathy is deleted from society. People are not willing to let you have a chance to say what to do, to have your own take when thieves are caught, or people who are accused to have stolen stuff. They're immediately beaten. We've all been in the Gambia in cases where People have been accused of having done crimes or stealing people's bags in cars, and they were beating mercilessly. Whether it was them that took it, whether the phone was found, whether all. Now, put this in the perspective of the government, where you give the government the ability to take the lives at its own cost, at its own, to take lives of people. Look, where the state uses this death penalty, it creates a culture where revenge is disguised as justice. Now, as a nation, are we ready once again to hand over to the government the power to decide who lives and who dies? My third point on this would be the death penalty risks discrimination against the poor and ethnic systems, because being considered innocent during these legalities and everything is not dependent on if you are actually innocent. It's dependent on your ability to read. It's dependent on your ability to prove your innocence to the court. Like in many countries, there are vulnerable groups like people who are poor, people who are of minorities. People don't have the money or the capital income to afford private lawyers, which means they would have to be represented by public lawyers. They don't have the resources to gather enough evidence or to prove their innocence in court. This means the death penalty, or it makes it easier for them to be convicted of crimes they have not committed, or to be forced by torture to accept to crimes they have not committed either. Honorable Speaker, honorables, in conclusions, I would say the death penalty neither solves the past crimes, nor does it prevent future crimes. It's just a relic of the past. It's dressed up as justice, yes, but it's steeped in revenge. Let us choose rehabilitation for the progress of the Gambia. True justice does not end in death. It just begins with life transformations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Chair, hand over back to you, so I can concentrate on tabling the points.
All right, Mr. BJ, thank you so very much. And thank you to the participants for the well-debated topic. And now I will give chance to the audience. So in case you want to say something about the topic, you can please come in and share your thoughts. Yeah. Manima.
Thank you, the Assistant Academic Secretary, for giving me the floor. And congratulations to all the debaters from the preposition side and the opposition side. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to talk about the debating topic, but what I want to talk about here. Please, 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 I'm begging, let's try to be diplomacy as far as debate is concerned. Okay, if you are battling with network issue, that's your own business. Please, it's either you are battling with network issue or the debaters are battling with network issue. So no one is allowed.
Ma, I'm very sorry, but maybe you have to wait and you come back. Yeah, I think you have to come back again.
Please, Abdul Karim, please give me time.
Yeah, I will clarify that point, please. I will clarify that point. No worry. Don't worry. Abdukate Tambajan, can you please come in?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Don't mind, he's trying to personal attack me, but don't mind. About the debate in question, death penalty. I think it is very. I mean, it will help to reduce crime in a small country like Gambia. I don't say we should just go and kill or behead everybody. That's found wanting, but the proof has to be in place. Like the normal procedure has to go on until the truth is found out and know who is to be killed and who is not to be killed. So on that note, killing someone who killed is very genuine, and it will definitely help to reduce crime in the Gambia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tambajan, for those contributions. So in case also you have points to raise regarding the first session also, you can still step in and share your thoughts with us. Because I remember the last time, before we start this session, like we have about 3 to 4 hands that want to come in and share their opinions. But okay, Mr. Mbowe, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so very much for giving me the floor. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That is the last topic debated. I could not give my contribution. I was somehow occupied after the, prayers and those stuff. In the, the diversity and those stuff. Okay, coming to this topic, that is whether the death penalty should be reintroduced or even if it's there now, whether it should be, come full. So for me, I will somehow agree with it, definitely. Like, Kukray, and we all know that you are the one responsible. Why should we negotiate? Let us kill you. I believe this is a way out for others to know that, yeah, these people are not joking. Because some of that, like, at times, I believe people do some of these offenses, like, deliberately. Therefore, at the end of the day, these criminal acts will, reduce. Or people will move in with, weapons, having the intention of, hurting someone or even killing someone. Therefore, for me, I'm really in favor of, like, implementing this death penalty. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. President. Okay. I would like to invite one of our 7 finalists. Is it Fatima Fati? Fatima, you can come in, please.
Okay. Thank you, Academic Secretary, for giving me this opportunity.
Okay.
I just want to contribute with regards to the current debate that has just concluded, that has just been concluded. Yeah, with the motion about the death penalty in Gambia. I think for it to be abolished, it's going to affect the Gambians very well. Because when we were in, during the IMF time, yeah, uh, sorry about that. During the IMF time, when that death penalty was there, we can see to read that the crime rate in Gambia has reduced drastically. Even though the president himself, he was secretly killing people, but he will not allow anyone or outsiders or anyone to just come and kill someone like that and you go scot-free. But right now, with the kind of thing happening in the Gambia, since they have not abolished it yet because still the constitution is still there, but yet still people term it as okay. If I kill anyone, there is nothing going to happen to me. So they continue since 2016 up to date. The amount of people that have been killed in Gambia and some of them to go scot-free is too much. It's even getting too much rather. And then for me, what I think is like anyone that the like Yajama said, he is the one who said that, and I support that very well. If you kill, you should also be killed. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Fati, for that. Mr. Jaju, can you please come in?
All right. Okay, so the motion that is being debated is essentially about death penalty, and I believe both sides of the equation did well as far as the motion is concerned. So just as it stands, I think one of the debaters said here that you cannot, how do I put it? An eye for eye, something of that sort would make someone blind. I can't remember the exact words, but he made mention of something of that sort. But again, if you come to think of it, I think it's one thing for us to, forget about our differences at some point, like to, how do I put it? Okay, so we've already had the Truth and Reparation Commission in the Gambia, which is the TRRC. So essentially, as far as that said commission is concerned, we believe that there was a white paper that was published. And on this white paper, it had, like, there are some people that at some point would be spot free, but there are others that will not have the same justice at some point. So as it stands, I believe like we really need to make a balance between the two in ensuring that like we reintroduce the death penalty. But at first, I'll have to ask, do we already have the death penalty in how do I put it? Is it that the death penalty is not there and they're supposed to reintroduce it? Because you reintroduce something that per se existed, but it's no longer, and then you have to reintroduce it. That is the essence of reintroducing. But I believe as far as this issue of the death penalty is concerned, I believe it's already in the Gambia. It's just the way it is carried out. Like the way it has been carried out is where the difference lies. Because come to think of it, at some point when, like back then, there used to be this firing squad. If you tend to kill people or something of that sort, I come from an industrial area, and then that was happening time and again. So during Jammeh's time, we all come to the realization that if you kill, you're killed. But then down the line, I think still the death penalty is there. But what happens is, like you either spend the rest of your life in prison. Because I remember during Yankuba Toure's case, a lot of guys were saying that he should have been killed somewhere, like he should be hanged. But even though the court ruled that he should have been, like it's a death penalty for him, like what the rule, how do I put it? The implementation depends on the executive, which is the government. So essentially, what the government did, I think they just want to have him life in prison. So that is what I have to say. But then as it stands, I support the idea of reintroducing the death penalty. If you kill, you be killed, because this, like, life is something that is, it's just so vital that, like, one cannot just take it for granted. Come to think of it, let us go to the issue of this back way or this irregular migration. At some point, a lot of guys that would embark on it, the reason why we would talk to say it is bad, it is this, it's because of the guys that died. It's not necessarily that all those that embark on it tend to die, but then it's that dying part that we consider. Okay, a lot of guys are saying that I need to summarize. Anyways, I support the reintroduction of the death penalty, provided it is not there. But I believe it already existed. So it's just the method that is being done that matters. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Jayo. And that is your testimony that the death penalty should be reintroduced in the Gambia. All right. Can we have Mr. Jallo, please? Mohammed S. Jallo. Mohammed S. Jallo. If Mohammed is not with us, Manima, you can come in, please.
Okay, Abu Karim, thank you so much for giving me the floor. But I am saying that I'm not going with the issue of death penalty. I am against this. Okay, first, I would like to ask, what are some of the protocols that are being considered before someone will be sentenced to death penalty? In a case that someone is trying to defend him or herself with someone trying to abuse his or her right, and the person happened to kill the person there, will there be anyone to tell that he or she was defending him or herself? If he happened to stand for himself, you kill and you have to be killed. What are some of the things, the protocols? Okay, there is no one to say that defend the person that he or she was defending his or her life. The one he or she was encountering with is already dead, lifeless, cannot speak. So this issue of death penalties, we really need to consider it. If someone is, as this opposition speaker said, if someone is already killed and they attempt to find out that his or her right was violated or he or she was innocent, will they restore that life back into the person? This is a question that needs to be answered before we consider this issue of death penalty. And for Shadi's case, death penalty is something that is already in state, I believe. It is not active as of now because President Barrow said he's not going with it. That was the reason why this the TRC, that man you mentioned, was not hanged. And I believe whatsoever they are trying to sentence him to life in prison or whatsoever the case is. But I believe if scrutiny was done and everything was settled, then death penalty should be done. They should have hung him. Why didn't they hang him? Is the death penalty there for government officials only, or is there for the whole nation? It's like, okay, when citizens are at fault or violate the rights or go against the rule, they will hang them. But when government officials do the same, they will not hang them. See, Gambia, we need to be fair. If we are to set a law, let the law be for all Gambians, not for civilians or not for civil servants or the taxpayers or whatsoever the case is. Let us be fair. So that being the case, I am saying I'm not going with this issue of death penalties because it is not fair. It's always favored one party and not the whole people at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Mani Majane, for that presentation. Mr. Fansumane, your hand has been raised for a long time. Please come in.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, for giving me the platform for me to also add my contribution towards this important debate. Today, the motion is very active with regards to the death penalty. I think death penalty should be it's. I don't think it is very important for because Gambia is a very small country, Mr. Speaker. I think we should allow the law to take it through processes rather than somebody kill. Some people can kill accidentally. So if you want to just say it's because of he killed, you want to kill him. I think this is something that I don't agree with. What is more important is the constitution has to take it to processes and then handle that person and that to way in the way that it has been stipulated in the constitution, rather than just killing somebody because of he killed. Somebody can kill somebody through accident or other things. So it's like I said no to death penalty. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mane. Mr. Mane is saying no to death penalty, and that is noted. I would like to invite Mr. Sirif Bas to share his contribution with us on the topic being discussed.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, sir.
Yeah, as the saying goes, not all murder cases are capital offense. So capital crimes are the ones who are eligible for death sentences. So as Manima likely said, in the terms of self-defense, it is called a civil hearing, a civil crime, but not a capital offense. Not all murders are leading to capital offense. So and also death penalty is not a one day trial or a 1 year trial. Someone can be sentenced for death penalty. He or she can spend almost 10 to 15 years in prison before he or she's life will be taken. So it's a long due process, and also findings are done, and also a lot of investigations have been taking place. So as the saying goes, death penalty is also it depends on the society we are in. In some in some crimes and some heinous offenses, a death penalty can be saved because not a state having a death penalty in the constitution does not necessarily mean all killings are liable for a death penalty sentence. So, but also having it in the constitution and also using it will also deter others from doing heinous crimes, especially irrelevant crime, homicide, killing people just randomly. So it will have control over that. And also, when someone kills a person once, twice, they call it hypothesis. So in law, so it will take time for them to proceed and do all the legal findings. So it's a complex situation. So that's why states will always work on states will always try to see how best to work on it. Yeah, but it is a complex topic. So, but it is also important in every state to control the models and legal proceedings when having it. But it will also have a legal procedure, so whereby our judges and our legal systems are firm about it. We don't need nepotism when it comes to this particular legal entity. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Bas, for that. Muhammad S. Jallo, are you still with us, please?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, my take on this topic is I say yes to it because, like, we have to understand most likely when your correlative are affected or killed by someone, that's where we think about the pain that those who are offended been facing. But we have to go back to the body that is responsible for it. I believe the judiciary system. To me, the judiciary system in Gambia, they are not ready for that because the trust is being affected towards them. Which when we observe the past regime, one man is how to call it ruling over the judiciary, which have to be independent. I believe if the judiciary is independent, they work towards those strategies that need to be implemented for the death penalty, because as Mr. Sirif said, death penalty is not one day. Some people have to go for years, for 20 years, which trying they go for trials, and sometimes at some points you find the person is innocent. So those people have to be uh, permitted and allowed to live in the society. But those who have offended like a heinous crimes, as far as the law is there and the body is independent, we hope like the death penalties will be introduced. Let's look at when like the past regime, they were, how to call it, even though it was not right, but when it was implemented, how the crimes were reduced. But look, when the current regime came and they tried to sideline it, how the crimes at like below 18 years taking a life of an innocent person, and the next day you see the same person moving in the community and he is going to be a threat. So for me, I say yes to it, but we have to go back to the judiciary system and work towards the government to be ready for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jallo, for that. Abduke Tamba is still here again. Okay, Mr. Tambaja, you can comment.
Yeah, good morning once again, Mr. Morebaito. Yeah, I believe most of the people have not understand still what we are trying to drive at. All we want is not a witch hunt or it's not any other thing but to reduce crime in our motherland. By so doing, we have to impose something that will prove to everybody that this is no longer a joke and it is very serious. There is no crime more serious than killing somebody, even though it is serious. But you will not just jump and kill somebody because he killed somebody. Okay, finding and processes have to be done. As somebody has just mentioned, people have spent years in the jail before they have been killed or before being sentenced to death. So those processes has to be there, very strong and firm. So that to discourage everybody committing such a crime. So Kulare Nulera, Amud Ragal. Moving forward to the first debate. As a soldier, I have an experience. Maybe most of you people have not. We know how to deal with foreign bodies when it comes to security. Security, I mean, information is the most secure thing in the whole of security. We don't joke with information. So in the line of that security, in the fear of that security being escalated and falling into a wrong hand, we are very mindful of that. And I believe our national intelligence is there and the military intelligence is also there. So the economic staying in the Gambia, they are doing their job that they are mandated to by the ECOWAS. Other than that, they will not do anything out of their duty. But my question is, why is Senegal being attacked to Australia? They are francophone, we are anglophone. We are very different in terms of operations. We are similar to Nigeria and Ghana. Why are those people not posted to the state guard instead of Senegal? So that this thing here, everyone needs to think out of the box and put your dots together and think why, because when anything bounce back, it is going to affect not only the army but the Gambia at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tambajang, for those remarks. And before I give chance to others, I would just like to remind the judges that should, in case you are done with the compilation of the results, you can just give me a notification so that I can allow you guys to step in whilst I post the meeting. Okay, Mr. Njai, you can come in. Manima, you have to wait, please. I've given you 2 chances.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone that is here listening. Yes, with the current topic being discussed or the motion being tabled, I for one would definitely not support. I don't think anyone would support killing, especially on how would I call it? Just like yeah, they will go ahead, like I said, we go and kill. So I think it doesn't make sense. But To be honest, I think most of the killings is happening, but many of them are also not capital. Like Sirif just said, some of these law terms, like people don't just kill. It could be mistaken, it could be self-defense and the like. So there are different types of killing. I think it needs to be justified. The things need to be put on place, and then whoever is killing that are intentional, yes, those people, I don't think people should be here to at least protect them. They should just face the consequences. But looking at statistics, you will realize that very few countries are still with this capital punishment. Very few countries, the likes of India, USA, Indonesia, Pakistan, and very few other African countries like also Egypt and Nigeria, Ethiopia. But the majority of this world has gone past those things. So that in itself will tell you something. But again, coming to Gambia is a different case. What favors someone might not favor us. So having it in the constitution, for me, it's one way of deterring people. Because at least if you know that when I'm fighting with you and hold a cutlass, I can kill you, or using a gun, I can kill you. I would rather use my hands then. I would not use a cutlass to fight. Like Gambians, we love fighting with arms. So in that, you are prone to killing. Maybe using it in the constitution can be a way of deterring people or discouraging people of that kind of thinking. People, you had boys saying that, I don't care. So having it, definitely, for me, I would support it, to be honest, in that aspect. But again, it needs to be justified, like many would others say. So I think that would be my take on that. Coming back to our own topic, definitely, I would love Fadi to be here because that topic is definitely interesting and we would love to debate. But Tabajang is here.
Yeah, even me, I want to see Fatih again to continue with the topic.
I was like, okay, coming back there, Mr. Tambajang is saying something very sensible that I'm not sure if many are listening from the point, like, if anything happens. Mr. Tambajang, we are in a sovereign state, it's a republic. This is the 21st century, it's a republic. But rest assured that nothing is going to happen. Yes, Nigeria is more close to us and the like. But again, what we share with Senegal, we didn't share it with any other country. That's that. We share everything. It's only these two countries that you will travel all over the world and they have the same kind of people, the same language spoken, a lot of things the same, you know and I know. So that in itself is something. I don't know why they choose them specifically to be there, but for me, I think there is no harm. And the rest also there is no harm, even being a military, because it's a republic, it's a sovereign state. We are free and we are 100% free. No one, including the British or whoever, can definitely do anything about it. So let's forget about it. I think those are just things that we might think. But again, supporting, like you said earlier, they are here doing their job professionally. Professionally, they're doing their job, just kind of support, not actually in any other aspect. So helping them is not a problem. What is the best thing? Are we learning from them? That is the problem. Are we really cooperating with them? This is not the first time, most interestingly. This is not the first time of having forces interfering on helping. This is not the first time. It has been happening since Jawara's time.
May I come in? May I come in?
Let me just conclude, so you will come back. Yes, they have been here and they have been supporting, and it has been going well with us. See, we are not powerful. Fatima mentioned of budget. What budget? You don't have enough budget for your soldiers. Would you have budget for other people? You cannot employ. See, our development mentioned something very important, that our soldiers, most of them are just from, we know. So these are kind of things that we need to support. The professionalism is also very important, and the technical support. We do offer support to Sudan when they need it. So when we are giving support, and still we have peacekeepers there. So no one is isolated in this world. Everyone needs support wherever you are. The only problem is how do you manage support? That's it. Are we learning from them? That is the important one, of which I think the military are definitely doing great things from that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nyang.
Yeah, may I come in, please? Very quick and fast.
Mr. Tambajang, you can come in.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Abdullah, for your wonderful thinking. Yeah, I'm very sure you are not security minded. I'm not, I don't mean to belittle you anyway, but me being security minded, I know security threats are very dangerous. And like close border countries are always enemies, whether you know or not. We can be smiling for each other, we can be sharing everything, but in terms of security, we are never there 100%. So this is my thought, and this is many people's thought. I was on the ground in the State House when these people came in 2017. They met me on the ground. What they themselves said after seeing us, we received them, because they know we were not prepared for any war. We were not battle. We were not in any battle preparation. Even though it seems or it looks like that to the nation, but we were not in, because Before anything happens, soldiers need to be brave. But what I am saying, they are francophone. We are very different from them in terms of operations. Even their mode of dressing and ours is different. But if you go to Ghana and Nigeria, we have this same and this same command word of commands. So on that, I'm suggesting they would, I mean, it would have been better they give us Nigerians or Ghanaians to the State House than the Senegalese. Their purpose, I don't know. I don't know, and I would like to know, but I don't know. But I would prefer that Nigerians were there or Ghanaians, because those are the people we share the same word of common with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tabajan. I'm so
Abdul
sorry.
Karim, Abdul
I am
Karim,
so
Abdul
sorry,
Karim,
Mr. Bas.
Abdul Karim,
Oh, Mr. Bas,
please,
please, you
2
can,
minutes, please, 2
you
minutes,
can, please, you can come in
please,
after
a
the
minute.
results announcement, please. I just get signal that the judges are ready to announce the results. You can come in after the results announcement. Over to you, Mr. Bitte.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So let me sit properly, so I'm able to review. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for that, and thank you everybody for your inputs. I am learning a lot because these are very, very important informations, and these are things that we should discuss as young leaders, I would say, because the country is in our hands now. It's not even in the future. We need to start addressing issues of national concern and try to bring in solutions. For us, we don't have the money, we may not have the resources, but we have our voices and we have our opinions to share as well. So it's very important for us to engage in such dialogues. But that is not that is not for me to say. What is for me to say is what we have here, and that is the result. But before then, as usual, I'll get to the structure. I'll get to the feedbacks. So I'll do the assessment of the first debate, and Algasim would take you through the second. So I'll start with the Prime Minister, then to the second speaker, third, and final speaker. So the Prime Minister, so the Prime Minister gave us structure and followed that structure, did probably the definition of the key terms, and made sure that he referenced them. He highlighted some key points, that is the national sovereignty, and link it to the legitimacy of the government, foreign influence, and increased security risk as well, which are very, very good points. I wrote a but here, but I can't seem to find it. Reliant on external forces. All right. So yes, that is it for the Prime Minister. So it was not really a bad one. There was a but. You see, when the debate is really tight, if you want to make sure that you follow every single protocol, because it may not necessarily be that you did not debate it well. It may be as a result of you missing on something that is really, really important and something that would miss you points. And okay, so it's the POI. POI was being asked, was being requested for constantly, but you did not. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. So you did not answer, and I'll take it that you did not answer. So POI is I'm sorry. POI is 5 marks, and you just gave 5 marks away. So you lost 5 marks for not accepting POI. I'm so sorry. I'm not feeling really well these days. So that is it for the Prime Minister. But it was not a bad one. So for the opposition leader redefined the key terms, which she highlighted, she or he, I cannot even remember, highlighted that it's not her primary responsibility, but felt the urge to redefine the key terms because some key elements were missed. And he or she went on to give a parameter to say that the ECOWAS would remain in the country as long as Barrow remains in power. But the rebuttals were not very strong. The rebuttals were really, really weak. I think you could have done better with the rebuttals because the Prime Minister gave a lot of points and you could have done better with the rebuttals. You could just highlight the points that he mentioned and make sure that you rebut the points. but that was not really done. It was just a statement to back a rebuttal. So, but I emphasize, when you're reporting, identify the claim, tell us what is wrong with the claim, and give us something what is right. But you don't just identify the claim and leave it at that. So you gave points as well, which are very good. And let me say the timing as well, because it has a factor. So you did not get the entire marks for the timing, both you and the Prime Minister, and it's because you either under debated or you over debated. I'm sorry, I did not indicate here, but yes, it was, you were not very considerate about the timing. And I would mention again, when the debate is too tight, little things can hurt you. And also for the opposition leader, you were constantly being asked POI and you declined, you did not accept. So down to the Deputy Prime Minister, gave us structure, which is good. So an improvement from last week is everybody here gave a structure. So I'll not have to go on and repeat structure. Everyone gave structure, and you made sure that you followed that same structure, which is a very good improvement from last week. So the rebuttals were from the Deputy Prime Minister were better. They were better than the one. The Prime Minister did not even pre-rebut any. So, but the Deputy Prime Minister's rebuttals were good. Indicated that it's transition of power, security threat. So these are very good ones. But when you're reporting, you identify the points that were mentioned by the previous speaker. If you want to target the examples, you may not really hit the point. You just eliminate the examples and the point would just stand. So when you're reporting, not to say that the rebuttals were bad, but when you're reporting, try to pinpoint the points that were mentioned by the persons, by the speaker's point you're reporting, and not just the examples. Because if you leave so much emphasis on the examples, you would of course eliminate the examples, but you may not hit the point. That is an advice that I'll give. But the rebuttals was not bad; it was good. You gave your points as well, and again, no POI was accepted. No POI was taken, and this is very bad. POI is 5 marks. Once you accept a POI and answer the POI, you get automatically five marks. If you accept, you get 2.5. So at least, if you cannot get the entire 5 marks, try as much as you can to take 2.5 marks. It's good. Even 1 point can have considerably very high implications on the total score. I'm emphasizing this because the score was influenced by very, very tiny points or very, very tiny protocols that were violated. So to the deputy opposition leader, I think she did really well. She gave a structure, and there was so much, again, I would repeat, coherence in her speech. She would indicate that this is what I am doing. She would do it immediately. She's done. She will tell you what she is about to do. She would do it, then tell you again where she is going to, which was very, very good. And it was not just with the presentation of the facts, but she backed them with so much references. And I mentioned yesterday, you don't just give references just because you have to. You give because they are relevant to the motion, and that was exactly what she did. And to me, she was really good. I barely had anything negative to attach to her, or barely had any recommendations for her. If she continues doing this, I think she would. I don't want to send the indication that I have a team here. I don't even know who the debaters are, but I think she was really outstanding. And it's only fair that I say, since if I have buts, I can indicate. I think if I don't, I should be fair enough to indicate as well. So that was a very good debate. Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader. Sorry, but I am struggling with cold. But now to the announcement of the result. Just a minute, please. Judges. So for the first debate that we had today, the government bench, government opposition, Sorry, we tabulated the points.
Or maybe, Betty, I think I should proceed whilst you do that. Is
Please
it?
do, please. I need to get water, sir. Please go on and do it.
Thank you very much. So I must say this the second round of the debate, which was between Modulus teams and David, was one of the most important, one of the most interesting debates I've witnessed so far. And I must say they all performed to expectation. So now let's go to the individual roles. To begin with the Prime Minister, I'm glad that he was able to follow his structure. He gave us a background of the motion, that is as to why the how to call it, why the death penalty was abolished at the first place. And he actually talked about that and made mention of the fact that the 44 killings of the Ghanaians was one of the main reasons, and the issue of the TRRC. So that was actually a good thing. And most debaters normally ignore these small details. So I'm glad that he was able to mention that. Now to his points, he also made mention of very interesting points, that it was justice for the victims and closure of families of victims, and another point also. However, I feel like he could have done a lot with the explanation of these points, but it was understandable. He did absolutely well with the points. He also made mention of examples like the USA and China that are applying the capital punishment. And yeah, he also made mention of very serious crimes in the Gambia, which could have been prevented if the issue of the death if the death penalty was reintroduced. So I must say he did absolutely well. Now to the opposition leader. The opposition leader also did amazingly well. I was impressed, I must say. He began by debunking the points of the prime minister, which I'm glad he did one by one. He he debunked the first point, which was justice for the victim, closure of family members, and deterrence of of severe crimes occurring in the future. And I must also commend him for also going into points of crimes and potential state abuse and the economic causes of these of the death penalty. Was able to mention the fact that it might cost the state, and he was also able to mention the fact that on the issue of potential for state abuse, that the state might use this against its opponent and not more other things. Now
Hello, sorry, Mr. Algasi. From my end, you are not audible. I don't know whether it is my. Hello, Mr. Ba.
Algasim, your network is not good at that time.
Yeah, you are not audible. We are not getting what you're trying to say. Thank you.
If Algasim is not audible, how about we try Mr. BT while Algasim fix that? Mr. Bah, your
I think
network
I'll
is
have
still.
to.
Yeah, your network is
Okay,
still.
it's fine.
Abdul Karim.
Mr.
Abdul Karim.
Bas, yes.
If they have a network issue, they can just tabulate it and just send it, then just announce the results. If they have a network issues, they all struggle with their network. So let them just write it and send it. I think it's also an option.
Yeah, but like, let's just try this alternative for now. Yeah. Mr.
Yeah, but also, as suggested by other, if their business network is like, they can just give the results. Then after that, we can see how they're gonna make some comments about the debate itself. I believe that will make it easier on them too.
Okay.
All right. So while Algasim is gone, I'll just indicate. I'll take it on from where he stopped. I suppose that should be okay. Okay, so I have the scores for the first round. So the government bench from the first round, right? From the first debaters, from the first set of debaters we had, the government bench scored a total point of 60. So the government scored 60 points. The opposition scored a total point of 68.75. So opposition scored 68.75 from the first debate. So with the second, Agassim was highlighting some of the faults that we noticed as judges. And I want to say the Prime Minister, I've always emphasized that when you're debating, you want to mention how and why you're going to implement certain something. So the motion is this House will reintroduce the death penalty. You did not tell us how you are going to implement this. And this is a policy motion. Policy motions would always give you that room to explain how you are going to go about the implementation. So many things were raised. Some people said that the policy is already in the constitution is already there, and it allows for that to be implemented. However, Barrow said this and this and this. How are you going to reintroduce? Once you do that, the opposition would not have, as Prime Minister, if you do a very, very good job, you corner the opposition. They may not be able to know what to do. And so that is the but from the government side that personally I have. And from the opposition, oh my God, battery. From the opposition, you could bring an alternative, yeah? If we are not going to go by the death penalty, what are we going to do? Because you kept on emphasizing that we are not, this is not just about, it's not about whether we are going to punish them or not. It's about introducing death penalty. And does this reconcile with our cultural beliefs or as a recognition as the Gambia, a peaceful nation? It does not resonate well with it. What resonates with it? You could have brought in an alternative to say that by mentioning that we will only be focused on crimes such as murder or something else. But you went on with the international standard of murder and treason. And murder, treason, and terrorism. These are the three crimes that are liable for the death penalty. You could have just cornered it to say we're only focusing on murder. That would be for the Prime Minister. For the opposition leader, your alternative could have been instead of reintroducing this, we would introduce cutting of your both your feet. We just cut off your feet, because they brought in the point of saying that if you don't kill them, they would come back and do it. Would repeat itself again. So if you cut their feet, who would somebody cannot walk? They would never be able to kill another person unless if that person is equal to them. So you could have put in alternatives. You could have very, very good alternatives, but it did not come through. And I'll say this debate was very, very tight, and it again happens as a result of the violation of few protocols of the BP style. So BP style is very, very, it could be very, very complex sometimes. It doesn't matter how well you debate. Sometimes it's with being considerate about the things that we look out for as judges. So Algatin was supposed to do the personal feedbacks, but he's struggling with networks. So I'll just go on straight with the announcement of the result.
Bitte, I think I'm back. My network is better now. Am I audible?
Okay, I think you're back.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back. And please switch on to Africell. Comium is not very good.
No, I was actually using my Wi-Fi.
Well, man.
Okay. So now I was talking about the Deputy Prime Minister, Modu Lewis, right? I think he actually made mention of his structure, which he did follow. He began by doing the rebuttals, but in my opinion, I was expecting better rebuttals, but then he only debunk one point, which was the deterrence. He made mention of the fact that America is a huge population, so obviously there must be high crime rate compared to the Gambia, and he did not debunk David's points of that was the only point he debunked. He did not debunk the point of of abuse, potential state for abuse by David, and the issue of um yes, economic costs that was mentioned by the opposition leader. So I feel like that is a way of making you lose marks. So to not lose marks, please kindly ensure that you debunk each and every point, because the moment you leave a point untouched, it means that you agree with the point. So please kindly take note of that. Now to his points too, he made mention of deterrence and preventing reoffenders here, and political stability. Well, for the political stability, I feel like there wasn't much explanation given to this point, because if you were saying that reintroducing the death penalty brings in political stability, you need to at least show us why it does bring political stability. And also preventing the offenders and deterrence was a bit similar. So much emphasis should have been made on the explanation. Now to the final speaker, who was David. He did strengthen the points of his opposition leader. He also debunked, which was actually better. He also made mention of his points, which was irreversible justice and revenge and break discrimination, which I feel like it was at least understandable. But then the mistake you made was you did not take a POI, and that lost you 5 marks from each of the judges. So you need to put that into consideration. Most of the debaters lose a debate simply because they do not take a POI. So if you happen to qualify for subsequent debates rather, just ensure that you take a POI. At least you might have a point or two from that. But refusing to take a POI from your opponent means that you're not confident enough to listen to them. So kindly ensure that you take a POI in your subsequent rounds if you happen to make it. I think basically that was all. I must say it was an interesting debate, and I really enjoyed each and every submission made by the participants. Yes. So now to the marks. Just a second, please. So the government scored 74.5, 74.5 over 120. That was good. And the opposition scored 78.5. That was actually 4 points different. So both teams did well. Congratulations.
Al-Gassim, is it over from your end?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you so very much to our able judges. And congratulations to the states that has advanced to the next round of the debate. And now we have come to the end of the debate. But I would like to invite Pasidi to make some analysis before I call on the Mr. SG to give closing remarks.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon to you all. I'm definitely glad once again to be invited to this marvelous occasion. I want to send special greetings to the University of the Gambia Debate Association, the president, and then the IPRO, and then the entire executive council for the job well done, and then to the GAM-IND executive, and then to the organizers. Basically, the debate is a very crucial, because looking at the topic that is actually being provided to be debated on is something that deals with our country at large. So that being said, we have a lot of people joining this debate, across the entire world. and then we are definitely glad and happy. I may not possibly be able to give any analysis because my boss, Mr. Bite, already did justice, and then alongside Al Ghazim. So all I can tell you guys is job well done, and then it was definitely interesting. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Jammeh, for your contribution, and thank you for your time, understanding the time difference also, but you still managed to be with us here and share in your contributions. Thank you so very much. I would like to invite on Mr. Sajo Eke Jajo to give closing remarks. Do we have the SG with us? Mr. SG, please give us closing remarks.
Sorry, I'm connecting from. Okay. Am I audible enough, the chair?
Yes.
All right. So, Assalamu alaikum, a wonderful good evening from India, and those that joined us from the Gambia, a wonderful good morning to you all, if not afternoon. And to all those around the globe that have joined us from the US, Turkey, Russia, and everywhere, we send our sincere gratitude to all of you. So to start with, we would like to thank God the Almighty for giving us all the strength to witness this thrilling and, of course, mouth-watering clash of words. Because as far as debates are concerned, they have to do with words, essentially. And I mean, those convincing and, of course, persuasive tones that we would have here. So all in all, we thank you, Allah, for giving us that strength of being here. Aside that, we would like to thank the UTGDA for a job well done, especially the adjudicators in the presence of Honorable Bite, Al Ghazim Ba, and of course, Honorable Jibril Njai, who's not with us today. And aside that too, we'd like to send our heartfelt gratitude, of course, to the 8th Executive Council of the Association of Gambian Students in India. Kudos to you, especially the academic department. And to the debaters, I must commend that you're all bold, you're all lion-hearted, because it's one thing to be selected from your states, but it's another thing to deliver to expectations. So to all of you that represented your various states, coming here and proving yourself stronger means a lot. We've seen states that had made it to the finale last year. This year they couldn't. We had seen states that made it to the semis last year. This year they couldn't. It shows that at some point there are some comebacks, but at some point also every state wants to prove themselves that they're very strong. And to the general membership of the entire GAM-IND, we thank you all for being with us here. This wouldn't have been a success without the support from all of you. So to the states that made it to the semis, who are Punjab, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, and of course Madhya Pradesh, which is Bhopal. We are hoping for a semi-finale that is going to be very engaging and of course entertaining at some point. So on that note, as the SG of the 8th Executive Council of GAM-IND, I declare this meeting closed. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so very much, Mr. SG, for those closing remarks. Thank you, Mr. Bide. Thank you, Mr. Ba, for joining us today. And let's see how the balloting goes to the semifinals, and see you all next week, inshallah. Good night from my end.